With over 33 years in the mobile bartending and service industry, he is the guy who brings the party and the joy wherever he goes.
She's a seasoned event planner and producer with more than 20 years of experience in sports, corporate, nonprofit, and private events, and she's here to keep things running smoothly.
Together, we are hot mics, cold drinks, and untold disasters of the wild, hilarious, and unforgettable moments in the world of events. This is the EventTalk Podcast with Dave and Rachel. Hi, welcome to the EventTalk Podcast, hot mics, cold drinks, and untold disasters. I am here with a coworker almost.
Yes.
We work a lot together. She also has kind of a side world that not many people know of in the event space and vice versa for her other job and doesn't know she does her other thing. And then obviously Dave's joining us as well. But we have Jess McClain slash Ton. I literally just asked her that. Ton. So she's born and raised Arizona. But you just got back from being in Oregon, right?
Yes, we have. So in the world of track and field and running, there are
Hence her other world.
U.S. championships and the Olympic trials, which more people follow the Olympic cycle. There are U.S. championships pretty much every other year that sandwich the Olympics. So, yeah, we just had the U.S. championships on the track.
First place?
Past weekend. No, I got
Fifth place.
Yeah, I got fifth. I'm in.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
yeah,
great,
it was. It's. I think a few years ago I would have been stoked with that, but you want to get top three.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the thing.
I don't know her to be under like 6 ever.
Okay,
But,
time out.
I used
How
to
many
be.
people ran?
So the field for the 10,000 meters goes out to 24 women. So,
So you did great.
five.
yeah,
You did
we'll
great.
take it. And this championship was the qualifier for the Tokyo World Championships, which start September 13th.
That she's going to.
But I qualified in the marathon already.
Congratulations.
So this was,
That's
thank you.
so cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be running 26.2 miles instead of 6.2 on the track. So I wanted that
And
extra
your
20
pace
miles.
is mile pace?
Oh, my mile pace. For the marathon, like goal pace would be 7:25 per mile. Or 5:25 per mile.
I was like 7. I'm sorry, like 5. Yeah.
I'm 5:25 per mile.
Just got back into town, guys.
But Japan will be interesting. It's supposed to be very hot and humid, so it'll be like
Is it hilly? Do you know, or is it flat?
decent. It's not. I've done the Boston Marathon in New York, so I don't think it's crazy hilly compared to those two. But I think you start on a downhill and then come back up that downhill at the end, so you're ending on an uphill. But
Yeah.
She got first in the Boston Marathon for U.S. women.
Nice.
first American, yeah, which was 7th overall.
Amazing.
So we're
We had fun
good.
to do the Spartan in Hawaii and said it just muggy.
Yeah.
Bad. They said it
Hawaii can be
again.
tough for racing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot of like iron, men and iron women who compete, and it's just like they're
ugh.
just swampy and it's humid
Swampy.
the whole time. It's
That's
crazy.
a good word.
But
Yeah.
well, the drink that we have today, Dave. We're kind of going off tangent here, but it's actually kind of cool because this is a newer company
Yeah.
that we actually had in an event that we did together,
did.
Dog Mom Day,
Uh-huh.
and everyone loved it at the event. But Dave, what do we have?
We have the Recess Watermelon Mojito, and we added mint to it, just with ice.
delicious.
So cheers and welcome to Event
Yes.
Talk.
And I'm only on the mocktail train for anher 6 weeks, and then Rachel and I will go out for some good cocktails.
There you
Yes.
go.
after that.
I'll
We tend to do
I'll
that.
supply it. I'll buy it.
Very yummy.
Super good.
Oh, that is, yeah, and it's non-alcoholic.
It definitely tastes the mocktail or the mojito side of it.
Right.
The minty
right.
side.
And the
Yeah.
mint helps.
Very
yeah.
good.
Very refreshing. Good job,
Perfect
guys.
summer mocktail.
She suggested, our social media girl suggested
Yes.
we do this drunk one time.
Oh, goodness. We'd probably have that when we go live to do events, like the Event Talk Podcast.
We have to
live
have
at
3
events.
drinks in before we do
Have you
the
heard
podcast.
there is an event or like it's almost a show. It's called Drunk History. Yeah. Very funny.
It is funny. It's a good one. We should do that.
Oh, goodness.
Worth a watch.
I'm in.
We'll see. But yeah, so Jess obviously is a phenomenal runner. I mean, I knew you not as a runner when I met you. She's also the executive director of the Love Up Foundation, formed by John Jay and Rich on 104.7 KISS FM. So she oversees all of the events that we work with in the foster community and Christmas Wish, which is a big initiative. So that's how I know Jess, and that's in my brain, that's who she is. And then she just runs on the side. Because when technically I met you, you weren't really running that much at
No,
the time.
I think you met me right after I broke my back.
Oh, yes, you were on crutches.
So
That's
I,
right. 'cause
I
just
ran
got
so
mom.
hard I fractured my sacrum.
Seriously?
A few years ago. Yeah, and then I prior to that, and Rachel won't toot her own horn, but she does all of our events for both foundations, and they are amazing every single time. But yeah, I had taken I ran pro out of college. So I ran all through high school, college, went pro for 4 years. Had a really rocky pro career. You said your son played hockey. I'm sure you've experienced injury cycles and all of that. But
broke his collarbone.
Yeah, I was pretty much hurt every 4 to 6 months for 4 years, which it's not fun. It's not a fun way to do the sport. You know, you sign a pro contract and you feel like you're not doing your job if you keep getting hurt. And I wasn't making any money, which, you know, I went to Stanford. So like graduating Stanford while all my other friends had 6-figure jobs, and I'm here like scraping together, you know, like a pro running contract, which at the beginning of it sounded really shiny and awesome. And then when you're in it, you know, it's expensive to maintain your body and travel and pay rent in a city like Seattle where I was living, and yeah, just all the adult things outside of being an athlete. So I ended up moving back here in 2019, just before COVID.
That's when you met your husband, right?
It is, yeah. I took a step back from racing during the pandemic. I ran. I honestly thought I wasn't ever going to come back to it. And then, yeah, I met my husband, Connor. We got married. And about 6 weeks before we have the Mesa Marathon here, and it was like a few days before my birthday, my 30th birthday, and I was like, dang, I should run a marathon before I turn 30. So I just signed up for it, not thinking anything of it, and ended up running a U.S. Olympic trials qualifying time.
Wow.
So then I got back into running and got fourth at the U.S. trials in the marathon last year. So I was the Paris
Does the husband run?
He does now.
He doesn't.
Caught the bug.
It's so funny. Please go to her social media and watch her husband. It's the cutest thing.
He's trying. No, he's running his first marathon in a few weeks. So
competitive? I mean, is he competitive with you?
He's trying to qualify for Boston.
Okay.
So
he's a competitive person, though.
Right.
He is a
So
competitive
he's an athlete
person.
too.
Yeah, he was a football player growing up, so he's had his fair share of like injuries, surgeries, and I mean his body was a wreck, and now he's got it back to like baseline, I think. But yeah,
You guys are all puppies.
We don't have kids, and you know we're just kind of doing fun stuff in the meantime.
You've had Pat Tillman here a couple times and won.
Yeah, Pat Tillman.
The local races.
Yeah,
are fun.
All the local races got me back.
The music one?
It,
What's the music one?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, is it still? Oh, it used to be P.F. Chang's Rock and Roll.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of, I mean, it hasn't fizzled out, but I think like in the era of me growing up, the rock and roll was like, oh my gosh, it looks so fun.
They had bands on the
at
way.
every mile.
Right, okay.
And it's still a thing. I think it's not the marathon anymore, it's the half marathon,
Right.
which I think is, you know.
It's more public, not for the elite.
Yeah.
It's more for the general.
I think the half marathon is a great distance for people who are like just trying to get into it.
I can run a block.
Right.
No, you'd be surprised. I know people who've barely trained for a marathon and have actually finished it and run surprisingly well. Like your body.
Yeah, you hang
Your
out
body
with
does
different
two things.
people than we hang out with.
Touche.
That's for sure. Your world's probably a little different than mine.
It's a funky world.
Well, and you mentioned you were an alternate and went to Paris last year, 2024, and hopefully 2028, LA. We're going to see you there. But people think events are just galas or charity fundraisers or a party, but the Olympics and the Worlds that you were just at, like those are all big events. Are there things that happen that like, especially because they're not super public. I mean, the Olympics is public, but like they're not like ESPN always tunes in and like watches the whole entire thing. Are there things that happen behind the scenes that?
For sure. I think if you're a certain echelon or like caliber of athletes like the Noah Lyles or Usain Bolt, or I mean the whole weekend of, you know, and build up of them competing at the Olympics is like schmoozing, and they're doing deals and events with their, you know, sponsors and, you know, the companies and brands that support their sponsors. So there's like different tiers.
She's on a window running. I saw that.
Yeah, but there is so much event planning, and I run for Brooks Running. They're a shoe company based out of Seattle, and I'm supported via the sports marketing department. So if you look at, you know, our teams, we have 3 technically teams in Brooks, and I'm like the road running team. So at all the world major marathons, a little different than like the world champs or Olympics, Brooks will, like for example in Boston, they rented out a retail space on Boylston Street, which is like the place to be in Boston during marathon weekend, and they basically just do a Brooks pop-up store, but they host you know, shakeout runs, and they'll host speaker panels and giveaways, and so they're doing everything they can to bring people running and folks to them. So there's like all these mini micro events happening like under the larger event of like the Boston Marathon or the World Champs. So that's a really cool way to see like how the different
There's events
brands
surrounding
pop up.
the main run event.
Yeah, and I think
It's marketing.
and I do feel like running hit a boom during COVID because it was one of those things where it's like you don't need a gym, you need shoes and
You're outside.
tank top, and I mean in Phoenix it's like sports bra and shorts for me when it's this hot out. Like the barrier to entry for running is like shoes are expensive for sure, no doubt, but like you can get a pair of shoes and an easy watch and clothes and get out the door. So I think you're seeing a lot more people getting into running, and you can tell like all the marathons are announcing every single year, like this is 55,000 people running the London Marathon, and 50, like each year is a record-breaking year for people.
Well, people are getting
signing up.
smarter on health too, and it's it's great for your cardio and all that too.
Yeah, I think people in the past just sometimes the first question I'll get, which funny you asked me today, like how are your knees? And I'm like, but it's so
I'm
true.
old, so
No,
all my friends are falling apart.
It's funny how like certain perspectives about especially distance running, because we do so much of it for so long. You would think your body just breaks down over time, but I think if I didn't do anything, my body would
Right, if you stopped, you would become stiff, right? I mean, it would be bad for you because your body's used to this.
But the thing,
you're still a puppy.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But the thing with running, it's funny. Like in our sport, we're like, how can we make fans more interested in track and field? And I think something Europe does really well is they create so many events. Like a track meet isn't just a track meet. They'll do a beer garden. It'll feel like people are going to an event and getting like, not that they don't get their tickets worth in the US. Like this was one of the best championships we've had in years this past weekend. But like, how can you make it feel more of an event for fans? You know what I mean?
Sure. Right. The running is one thing. It's for us that don't run to come watch you, stuff for us to do.
And the interesting thing with athletics is what, the world calls it, or track, is that there is downtime between each event. Like the steeplechase, you have to jump over water barriers and hurdles, but they have to set up for that in between the event, or the 100-meter hurdles, or, they're breaking down events and setting them back up. So there's more dead time and dead air in track, whereas like if you're at a basketball game or a football game, it's like you've got the marching band and the dancers out there, and like the Suns do all these like crazy things, so you're just entertained the whole time. And I think with track, that's something that from like an event perspective would be interesting to get a take on. But
I think too, coming from like a professional athlete world, like people can walk up to you and you're like excited to see them and take a picture, where that's not always the case with NBA players, football players, like all that kind of stuff. So more approachable. And I remember the very first run you ever did that I saw, like you ran, I think you got third or fourth. And somebody had interviewed you after, like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, well, I'm not sponsored. I don't have a coach. I just run by myself. And they're like, okay, so what do you do? And you're like, well, I'm the executive director to Lev Up. And they're like, oh, so you have a real job? Like, wait, you just ran this and you have a real job? Nobody else out there did that.
Yeah, I think in track, it's one of those, and just marathoning and distance running, it's an interesting world because it used to be, the main perspective was that you couldn't do much else and like be super good.
You had to train all the time.
You would all the time. And like half your job is recovering and not doing anything outside of practice and all this stuff. And I don't operate that way. So I was almost trying to fit that mold, and then just getting in my own head and getting hurt. And so I finally just caved, and I'm like, I'm not wired that way. Like, I ended up getting a part-time marketing job in 2015, and I still do consulting for that client, like not a ton, but to this day. So I'm like, I'm glad I've kind of followed my, my own path.
But made you better in running, and it kind of, I mean, it gave you a different type of discipline and a different area to like focus in. Like I said, I didn't know you ran when I met you. I know. And so obviously, yes, you were on the road for how many days? 5 days or whatever, doing this run, and then you're going to Tokyo. But you still have a job where a lot of what we do is events. We do Children's Heart Gallery, where we do events 5 times a year, 6 times a year. And then we have Christmas Wish coming up with, Arizona, which is surprising Arizona people with a Christmas Wish. And that's a lot of your time.
It's all fun stuff. I would say a lot of our, Rachel and I, and we've worked together now for almost 3 years going into, I think.
It's crazy.
A lot of the bulk of our work happens in like Q1, Q2, and Q4. So like right now it's kind of, our team kind of resets. And
June, July, we take off.
But for me, it's like
Arizona.
June, July is like my
running
ramp up for track. So it's like I kind of don't ever have time down. But running now to me is like I get to do this. I don't have to. Like it used to feel like a chore. And now, my body's feeling great and I'm enjoying it and finally, having success. So
well, and I think with your
fun.
husband, you have like a partner in it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think especially I'm 33. So in the world of track, that's old. For road running, I'm basically in my prime, but like to be at a track, championship, you look at these younger kids who are like 24, 23, and they're just so hard on themselves, which is exactly how I was. Like you're overthinking everything and like basically saying no to everything else in life. And some of them, it seems like they're not enjoying it, even though I know they're enjoying the grind. But sometimes you just want to, shake a little perspective into them. And you're like, oh, you're going to wish you did things a little bit
They've been doing it since they were 7 years old, right? And so they're at that point of, do I want to keep doing this right at 21, or am I done with this?
Yeah.
Right. You hit that point as an athlete.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of my kids were.
Yeah.
The scouts and this and the practices and and finally some of them said I'm done. I'm glad I'm good at this, but I'm done.
Then it becomes so much of your identity that if like thinking about taking a step back or quitting feels like completely giving up.
Right.
And you can't detach your like identity from the sport you've been doing your whole life. And I think COVID forced me to just take a step back, which is really healthy. But yeah, it's interesting. Like the elite level of any sport, I'm sure there's a ton of that where you just...
It's who you are. That's all you know as a kid,
It's all
right?
you know.
That's all you know as a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
That's when you do things on the side.
Yeah, and I think with
But
Love
you
Up...
coach. You always end up coaching after that.
I have never enjoyed coaching.
No.
For some reason, I just like, I think I put too much pressure on myself to be like that, not in control or like have so much, responsibility over somebody else's career. Like it stresses me out. I couldn't do it. Even my husband, he wouldn't listen to me. So I was like, what?
Really?
No,
I can't believe that.
No, it was like I would tell him one thing and it was like opposite day. And I'm like, okay,
We're the
well,
best. All of us are amazing. We listen to our wives all the time.
Right. But no, with Love Up and Love Pup, it was like the perfect, I slid into John Jay's DMs while I was sitting at my corporate job like 3 years back because I was miserable. I was still trying to run at a high level.
Okay.
And I was sitting at a desk from 7:45 to 5:15 every day, and I just felt like a small cog in a huge machine that was making no difference in the world. So I messaged John Jay, and I was like, hey, I am about to quit my job. Any chance you guys need marketing help? I've been listening. I'm sure he loves this. I've been listening since I was 10.
Right.
He's like, holy crap, how old are you now? But so I met up with John Jay and Rich and Blake, and then I think my next meeting was with Rachel.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it just felt like a really good fit. Like being out in the community, we work a lot of weekends, but, I would say like our Mondays are kind of flexible. Like we have days during the week where it's like, okay, I can kind of work from home and balance the running stuff. So I just kind of have pieced my running schedule into my life instead of the other way around. But it's very cool to have a job where you feel like you're actually giving back to the community and it's not just like a purposeless thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and speaking of that, obviously, I mentioned earlier, we talk a lot about foster care. What is something that you hope most people or can share with most people that they don't really know about the foster community?
Yeah, well, I don't think a lot of folks know, at least like my friends who grew up in Phoenix and, people that I am around here, like they don't know we have close to 11,000 kids in foster care in Phoenix.
Which is down.
Which is down. We're probably closer to, I think it was 10,900 at the end of last year in all of our like end of year reports. So hopefully it's down. But I think a lot of people don't know how to, like we also work for Love Pup and it is so much easier to like raise money and get support for our pups.
dogs.
They see
And with
dogs.
kids, it's like literally like a stuffed animal during the holidays, like changes their whole day. The littlest thing is like the biggest thing to them. And I think you can get involved in any capacity. Like it could be just donating, very hands off. It could be coming to one of our events and, getting fingerprint cleared and come volunteer with the kiddos and hand out pizza and get them, fitted for clothes and whatnot. Like there are so many cool events that we put on now that maybe in the past it was kind of hard to find something that you would, connect with in terms of a way to give back. But now there's so many different ways. But these kids are just like, they're stripped from their home in probably a very traumatic moment. And then they are taken to the Welcome Center, DCS Welcome Center, and basically are just thrown into like, the doctor's appointment and getting
lice.
dental and
the
lice
chair is their very first spot to go.
Yeah.
The what is?
The lice
Like they
chair.
just have to get checked out, for safety protocol reasons. And then they're entered in the system and they're probably there for 1 or 2 days. And then they're either in foster care, kinship family care, or go right into a group home. So it's like these kids have done nothing to deserve, this path. And they just deserve like moments of joy. And so that's what we try to do, is bring that to them.
We have. I remember the little girl in the pink dress. She was
the fire.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was a fire truck. That was a different one.
Yeah.
But there was a little girl who they get to choose their clothes when they come to our events of what they're going to wear in their picture. And this girl put on this like pink, I don't know if it was a dress or a pink top and skirt, and just twirled, just did circles. And she's like, look at my dress. And they get their hair braided.
Yeah.
The guys get the shaves and the, what do you call them? Where the fades. Fades.
Don't I look?
They got the fade
I've been
from
bald since I was 13. I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
But there is fun things too. I think yes, these kids, it's not always the easiest story, but we just really try to create that joy. And I think Jess embodies that. Seeing the stuff she goes through in the run, and then tying it into wanting to do good for the community. But that's a lot of pressure, not only on you for running, but to run a charity and a foundation as well.
Well, I think running just can feel so selfish. Like it is very like, what do I need to do to get myself to this level and qualify for I was in such a selfish cycle with you honestly have to operate that way at a high level.
Right.
But I'm kind of like, I'm still definitely in the conversation and performing really well, but it's also like, okay, now I'm at that point in my life where it's like, how can I make a difference and do something else? But I think with this too, my mom was a court-appointed social advocate for kids in the system or between the court system growing up. So I was exposed to, some not so great stories that were very different than my, upbringing. So I think, and she also did a ton of work in the dog rescue world. So it's funny that I've found a career that has been similar. I think I was exposed to enough as a kiddo to like be intrigued by it and not, sometimes when you grow up as a kid and you see or meet people that feel different than you don't know how to deal with that. And I felt like with running, like I have had such diverse teammates since I was young, like
across the world.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And just like growing up, like I was in a track club here in Phoenix growing up. And it was just like a super cool group of kids. And I played soccer forever. And then obviously Stanford is extremely diverse. And I got there and I'm like, holy crap, I must have run fast to get in here. I was surrounded by geniuses in my freshman dorm. But so it's been cool to like meet these kids at these events. And we're in a really cool position where we're like hosting the event and we're not like forced to hang out with them. Like we put ourselves in situations where we're like crafting with them or like getting them in the chair for their hairdresser, styling appointment, or like helping them. We did an awesome one at the Chandler Municipal Airport where the kids got to tour private planes and the air traffic control tower and helicopters. So that was really cool. And they open up like with the more cool activities we can get. And that's why if anybody's listening out there who like
we need
hosts,
locations,
like the cooler the spot, like the faster these kids open up and have fun. Like if it's just like a warehouse vibe or an office and we're playing Jenga and they know they're there to get their adoption profile updated, like that's not going to lend itself to like a day where they're bubbly and like talking.
Children's museum, something like that.
Yeah, something fun. So we work year round to secure awesome venues. Rachel applies for grants to do that, leverages her connections in the event world. I just click clack and write tons of grants. Like a lot of what we do right now is like the admin, sponsor building, grant writing stuff this time of year. Yeah. So, but it's all worth it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know a lot of what we do behind the scenes with Love Up, obviously, and I try to avoid as many crazy behind the scenes things that happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have a lot of them for Love Up.
No.
Like, I think I was talking to you before, and I'm like,
It's because you were running them.
Touche. But still, it's just still there's some, not always, but but in the run world, like what is some of the crazy stuff that happens that like it's before you step onto the I was gonna say field, the track or
somebody ran off track and disappeared.
Yeah, I haven't had
streaking through the street.
Yeah, I haven't had a ton of crazy stuff. So for like the marathon, a big part of training is like fueling. So we take in like I'm
Carbs,
sure people
carbs,
have
more
seen them, like the
carbs.
little gel packs.
Use
So
them
we'll
for
get,
Spartans, yep.
yeah, as like an elite, you get tables during the race every 5K that you have to set your bottles for and your gels, and you run and grab them. So you have to practice like bottle grabbing in the middle of your 20-mile
Practice
runs.
bottle grabbing.
There you go. That
Yeah.
could be part of
And
Poor
then
Masters in
taking
some
your
way.
fuel.
Okay, a
So
vodka tonic,
I was
vodka club soda.
I was getting ready to race the Boston Marathon, and I maybe have one or two gels that are caffeinated because you kind of just need an
Sure.
extra boost, And then I go to take one of the gels. I'd put 6 of these on my bottles. And I took one of them before the race, and I was like, oh, I just need like something in my stomach before the race. And I realized it was caffeinated.
Oh, no.
So I put 6 caffeinated gels on my bottles, and I realized this, like 30 minutes before I'm supposed to race.
So you were just wired.
Probably one of the biggest marathons of my whole life. So I just had to kind of like know where they were handing out, they'll hand out
Regular
other fuel
runs.
to other people. So I was like stuffing
Protein
gels
bars.
in my pants during the race. But it's more things like that where you're like things that would have probably made me freak out as an early pro. Like once you are in the sport for a while, you're more adaptable.
And in the events.
But you're in a better mindset too. That if
Yeah.
you didn't get your
Yeah.
caffeine, you can still
Yeah.
put it together.
Like going to Japan, like racing a marathon in Japan, we have USA Track and Field gave us a call like a week ago, and they're briefing us on like, okay, this is the food you can expect. And I just know the younger athletes or people who maybe haven't been doing this for so long are probably pretty particular, and they're like, I need this kind of food,
Right.
like, so they try to get us American food.
they had a nutritionist design.
I don't care. Like, I'll eat anything. But yeah, there's just a lot that you try to plan for. But then there's a lot that's out of your control. So I think a lot with running is just learning how to be adaptable. But there hasn't been, like, I'm not
Rain?
a sprinter. No.
Snow.
I mean, I hate rain and snow. So like if I know I'm going to race, like for example, if I do Boston next year, there's a 50-50 chance it could
It's
be
gonna rain,
sleeting. Or
right.
this
Didn't
year it
you-
was 70 degrees and hot, which
Wasn't
I
there
love.
one that you ran in the rain or had just rained?
No.
Or was that maybe was that Paris? I think it was Paris.
No,
And-
Paris was really hot.
But it was raining, I thought, during the opening ceremonies. So I was like, oh no, she's going to get rain. But you guys were at the very end potentially. So
Yeah, like that was a crazy experience. So I got a call from USA Track and Field 5 days before the marathon at the Olympics last year that there's a chance one of the athletes might not race. And they're like, it is up to you to get on the plane. It's a 50-50 shot right now. And I booked a ticket for the next day, flew to Paris, and then my chances of racing like diminished as I got there, which is fine.
14-hour flight or whatever.
But yeah, I think you kind of always just have to be ready for anything. So that was a really good test of just like, okay, I can get on the plane and not freak out, and I think I would have run well.
You
But
support the team and
Yeah, exactly.
right.
You
And
got
you still get
experience of
behind the
going.
scenes, right, and all that kind
a
of
little
stuff.
bit. Not
Could you
as
drink in
much.
Paris?
Oh, I did. The night before the marathon, I was like, when I got the call that I wasn't racing,
For sure
I
not racing.
had to have a little.
Vodka, wine. What are we
sorry
doing?
for myself, Aperol spritz.
Okay,
And a big
well,
old croissant.
Yeah. But no, I think it's funny. Like the sprinters, like even this past weekend, 2 of the sprinters that are like some of the best in the U.S., Noah Lyles and Kenny, did the 100-meter sprint. And then Noah has this thing where he's just got this personality where he'll like, if you got a button, he'll push it probably. But he finishes the last like 10 meters of the race just staring Kenny down in second place. And like sprinters just have that, like oomph. Not that distance runners don't. Like it's like, God, I have to run 2.5 hours. I'm not going to expend any energy like doing any of that. But you see a lot more stuff and excitement in like the shorter races.
Sure.
Are they friends or just competitors?
I think they're competitors. Yeah. Well, they're teammates now, Team USA teammates.
Yeah.
So they'll figure it
They'll
out.
figure it
But
out.
yeah, any drama's good.
It's good competition though, usually.
Yeah.
So
Drama's good for the sport. We need more of that.
Well, you need that one other person that's going to push you right to the next level, and those two probably push each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
because and you need
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
For sure. The rivalries are good.
Yeah. Do you have somebody who's pushed you in running? I know one locally here who trains with you a lot, but
Yeah, I have a few. Like, there's a few of us my age that have been doing it with each other for so long. Like, my friend Emily Sisson, she's got the American record in the marathon. She's amazing. Emily Infeld, who I just raced this weekend, she won at 35, won her first U.S. championship on the
Nice.
track. So that's
Amazing.
awesome. Yeah, there's a few of us that have just been in the circuit for a long time, and you just know people's strengths. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, if she's there with XYZ meters to go, you know you're screwed. You know, like there's just.
I think as you get older, you understand that though. As young, you're competitive.
Yeah.
But you're more probably friends with them right at the end.
For sure. So it's all good stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love it.
it's fun.
Well, thanks for coming and joining us.
Well, thank you
I hear a
guys.
whole bunch of new things behind an event world that I know nothing about, which is running, which is always fun to learn about. And maybe one day, Paris, Airbnb.
Do the
now.
podcast out there and we'll interview all the runners.
No, but the event just approach to sports and athletics is such like I'm excited to see how at least the sport I'm in could grow from it and be
I
better
like the idea
informed.
of the event side too in track and field, like make it an event, not just run.
Well, it's a big event.
Yeah.
The whole system's a big event, not just
Yeah.
her run.
Right.
That whole
It is.
thing,
No,
somebody's
it is
planning it.
But it's like what are the little things you can do to either bring more athletes together or make the people who are going there more excited? Because a lot of times, like we do the U.S. Championships in Eugene every year, so it's like people know it's like hamster wheel of life. Like and Eugene's great. It's Tracktown USA. It's awesome. But like, how can you make it special? And no, it was cool to talk through different ideas and share a little bit more about Love Up and Love Pup. So thank you for having me.
Of course.
Sweet.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. This is good. I'm gonna go running right after this.
I am 100% not going to go running.
Wait, it's 114, maybe tomorrow.
Maybe more. 118 this week. Definitely go out and run. Well, have fun running up in Flagstaff.
Thank
your little
you.
break. But thank you everybody for joining us today. We had Jess McClain, and then I think her husband's gonna get a fun laugh out of this one, Connor, when you see it. But this is the Event Talk Podcast. Hot mics, cold drinks, and until disasters. The like, the subscribe, the thumbs up. You know probably this stuff better than I do. I just
we just
Thanks,
like
guys.
Thanks for tuning into the Event Talk Podcast, hot mics, cold drinks, and untold disasters, where every event has a story. A big thank you to our guests for their laughs, stories, and lessons. If you loved this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your fellow event pros. Until next time.